Scorpio, something shocking is about to unfold. A powerful truth is rising to the surface, and someone close to you may be hiding more than you realize. Between November 1st and 3rd, a wave of intense cosmic energy will pass through your life. You may already feel it. You may have sensed the shift, the subtle tension, the quiet stares, the energy that doesn't match the words. If this resonates, then you're exactly where you need to be. This message was sent for you. There are no accidents in divine timing. You didn't land on this video by chance. Something greater is at work here, pulling you toward truth, clarity, and the kind of alignment that only shows itself when you're ready to rise beyond old cycles. Welcome, beautiful Scorpio soul. You carry a deep and ancient wisdom within you, one that senses what's beneath the surface, that hears the silent vibrations in a room, that feels the storm before it hits. This is not paranoia. This is spiritual discernment. You are one of the rare signs gifted with the ability to perceive what others cannot. And right now, that gift is being activated for a divine reason. From November 1st through 3rd, the cosmos brings a collision of energies: Mercury squaring Uranus, exposing hidden truths, disrupting illusions, and pulling the masks off those who cannot walk in authenticity. This is not a time to brush off your intuition. It's a time to stand in it fully. Through the lens of tarot, the High Priestess and the Seven of Swords have emerged, a powerful pairing that confirms what you feel but haven't yet said aloud. Someone near you is wearing a mask. They may smile. They may congratulate you. But behind the softness is a shadow that doesn't want to see you rise. And still, your soul knows. You may have been feeling a quiet exhaustion lately, like your spirit is picking up the weight of something unspoken. Let me assure you, you're not imagining it. This is the season where the hidden is revealed. But the truth is not here to break you. It's here to set you free. Scorpio, if your spirit has been stirred, if you feel like this message is speaking directly into a space you haven't been able to explain, comment below. Let your soul say yes. Let your voice confirm what your spirit already knows. Say it aloud: I welcome the truth that sets me free, or I accept the clarity my soul has been waiting for. Your words carry power, and your declaration anchors your vibration into the path of truth. Let me take a moment to say this from the heart: thank you. Thank you for being here, for showing up with presence, for choosing this moment. Every time you engage, be liking, sharing, commenting, or subscribing, you become part of something greater. You're not just a viewer. You're a pillar in this sacred community of awakening souls. You're helping bring spiritual light to a world that desperately needs it. And your support allows this space miracle of the Sigto continue offering messages that transform lives. Now, let me be clear. You are not here to be afraid. You are here to awaken. To see clearly. To protect your energy. To choose truth over comfort. You are not the victim of someone's envy, you are the guardian of a sacred light that cannot be dimmed by shadows. Stay with me. What's coming next will not only confirm what your intuition already knows, it will guide you in how to respond. There is a shift in your soul's timeline happening right now. And yes, Scorpio, it's going to change everything. Are you ready to walk into the truth that was always waiting for you? Let's begin. There are moments in the life of every Scorpio when intuition doesn't whisper, it roars. And as we enter the early days of November, that inner voice, your deep-rooted knowing, is no longer something to ignore. It becomes a guiding force, a gentle yet insistent pull that tells you, something isn't right. You may not have facts or proof, but you feel it in the tone of a friend's voice, in the shift of someone's gaze, in the strange silence that falls between conversations that once felt easy. This, dear Scorpio, is the activation of your energetic radar, a sacred gift unique to you among the zodiac. It's not paranoia. It's awareness. It's the soul's early warning system. The planetary alignment unfolding now. Mercury square Uranus doesn't ask for your permission to shake the truth loose. It simply does. Mercury, the messenger, in tension with Uranus, the great awakener, demands revelation. It doesn't care how long the lie has been in place. It doesn't consider how painful the discovery might be. Its only concern is alignment. And when these energies touch your chart, especially in the realm of close relationships, you are being asked not to cling to appearances but to pierce through them. You're not being invited to judge others but to honor your own clarity. In your recent interactions, have you noticed a certain tightness in your chest when you're around a particular person? A subtle, recurring sense that you're walking on eggshells, or that your joy is met with forced celebration? Perhaps you've begun to filter what you share, or shrink your success so others feel more comfortable. If this resonates, it's not accidental. It's energetic feedback. What you are sensing may not yet be visible, but it's real. The truth is in the vibration, not the volume. The High Priestess in Tarot is your mirror. Here she holds the scroll of secret knowledge. She sees without speaking. She is your intuition incarnate. But paired with the Seven of Swords, she doesn't just represent silent wisdom, she becomes a warning. Someone is moving with stealth. There is deception, whether intentional or unconscious. Words that don't match actions. Smiles that don't match energy. And no matter how polished the performance, your soul detects the cracks. You're not crazy for noticing. You're courageous for acknowledging it. This part of your journey may feel lonely because calling out a silent dissonance often means standing alone, at least for a time. But as Jesus once taught, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That doesn't mean it will always be easy. Sometimes the truth hurts before it heals. It breaks down illusions we've built for safety. But on the other side of that rupture is peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't require you to pretend or perform to be accepted. The kind of peace that allows you to stand in your light fully, without apology. If you're feeling the urge to withdraw, to be more selective with who gets access to your time, your space, your heart, honor that. It's not pettiness. It's preservation. The universe is preparing to open a door for you, but you must first ensure that what you carry through that threshold is aligned with who you're becoming, not who you've outgrown. Not everyone can go with you. And not every connection that once felt sacred is meant to survive your next transformation. Stay with this moment. Feel into it. Journal it. Pray on it. Let your nervous system settle into the truth that you don't need permission to protect your peace. Your discernment is not cruelty. It's stewardship of the light you've fought so hard to keep burning. This is not just a shift. It is a sacred redirection. And if it feels uncomfortable now, remember discomfort is often the birth canal of alignment. Something is being delivered into your life, but you must first release what blocks its path. And that, Scorpio, is the work of this moment. To look into the eyes of illusion and not blink. To feel the tension and not run. To hear the whisper of truth and answer it with quiet strength. The door is opening. Don't let anyone's shadow close it. Sometimes, the deepest wounds are the ones that aren't spoken aloud, the ones that linger in the subtle energy exchanged between people who say they care but whose presence feels heavy. Scorpio, you have always walked the world with a quiet intensity, a kind of emotional depth that most others can't comprehend. You love in silence, you endure without complaint, and you rise without asking to be seen. But it is precisely this resilience, this soul-deep strength that unsettles those who have not yet met their own shadows. You see, when your light begins to shine more clearly, whether it's through growth, success, healing, or simply choosing peace, there will always be those who misinterpret your radiance as arrogance, or worse, a threat. And it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's because your evolution calls their stagnation into question. Without saying a word, your growth becomes a mirror reflecting what they haven't yet faced within themselves. This is the energy of jealousy, not loud, not always intentional, but deeply disruptive. You might notice it in the way someone smiles with their mouth but not with their eyes. You might feel it when your good news is met with silence or passive congratulations. Or when your joy is followed by their withdrawal, and your low points become their moment to connect. It's not obvious. That's what makes it so disorienting. And that's what makes you question yourself, wondering if maybe, just maybe, you're asking for too much by simply existing in your power. But here's the truth, you're not. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to shine. You're allowed to celebrate your wins, to be excited about your healing, to share your progress, even if others aren't ready to match your frequency. The discomfort they feel is not your burden to carry. Their resistance is not a sign that you should shrink. It's a sign that you're stepping into alignment, and their shadow is simply being activated in your light. From the lens of energy healing, this dynamic is a form of subtle manipulation. It's not about curses or spells, it's about vibration. When someone is operating from a space of unhealed insecurity, they may unconsciously try to dim the light of others just to feel safe again. But you, Scorpio, are not here to carry their unhealed wounds. You are here to transmute your own and, by doing so, to give others permission to face theirs. In astrology, Scorpio rules transformation. You are the alchemist of the zodiac, the one who turns pain into power, endings into beginnings. But with this gift comes a lesson in boundaries. You must discern not only who deserves access to your heart, but who has earned the right to witness your evolution. Not everyone who claps is cheering for you. And not everyone who stays close has good intentions. Some stay near only to monitor, to measure, or to manipulate the rhythm of your rise. Your soul is being asked to protect itself not with walls, but with clarity. With choices that honor your growth. With distance that honors your intuition. And with a knowing that says, I can love people from afar and still move forward without guilt. This is not about blaming or labeling others as villains. It's about recognizing how subtle energy impacts your well-being and choosing peace over performance. Emotional manipulation can look like love. It can sound like support. But if it leaves you feeling smaller, drained, or unsure of your worth, then it's not love, it's control disguised as care. When scripture reminds us to guard our hearts, it isn't about closing off. It's about protecting what is sacred. And your light, Scorpio, is sacred. You don't need to dim it for anyone. You simply need to keep it burning for the right reasons, and in the right direction. Keep growing. Keep glowing. And when the shadow tries to follow your footsteps, remember, light doesn't chase darkness, it simply continues to shine. When your light begins to grow brighter, it doesn't just illuminate the path ahead, it casts light into places you hadn't intended to reveal. And sometimes, that includes the people standing closest to you. Scorpio, the intensity of your emotional field has always acted like a magnet, drawing in those who are searching for transformation, for clarity, for shelter in your strength. But what happens when the very people you've held space for begin to resent the stability you've created? What happens when your calm presence, once a source of comfort, becomes a mirror to their chaos? This is the moment when energetic self-protection becomes not a luxury, but a necessity. You are not here to absorb the weight of those who refuse to carry their own healing. You are not here to trade your peace for approval, or to twist yourself into emotional shapes just to be tolerated. As the universe begins clearing the field for your next chapter, it is essential that you recognize this. Boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges between your old self and your higher self, and building them is an act of love. Right now, the energies surrounding you are shifting. The old dynamics that once felt familiar, even comforting in their dysfunction, no longer match your frequency. You may find yourself feeling drained after certain conversations, hesitant to share your wins, or suddenly aware of how much emotional labor you've invested in people who've never poured back into you. This is not weakness. This is awareness. It is your nervous system speaking. It is your intuition clearing space. In astrology, Scorpio rules the 8th house, the realm of deep bonds, shared energy, and psychological transformation. But within that intensity lies a lesson that many Scorpios learn through pain. Just because you sense someone's brokenness doesn't mean you're meant to fix it. Your compassion does not obligate you to carry their shadow. You can witness someone's struggle without absorbing it. You can walk away and still hold love. You can choose yourself and still honor the connection without sacrificing your peace in the process. Self-protection doesn't mean closing your heart. It means learning how to keep your heart open without letting everyone walk through it. It means becoming discerning about who earns access to your inner world. Because, dear Scorpio, not everyone who asks for your light knows how to honor it. And if you continue giving it away without reflection, you risk dimming it, not because it isn't powerful, but because it becomes diluted by distraction and depletion. Now is the time to reconnect to your internal compass. Turn down the noise of expectation. Tune out the guilt of not being available enough for others. Listen instead to the rhythm of your own energy. Is it calm? Is it safe? Is it nourished? If not, you owe yourself the same care you've given so freely to others. Take a walk in solitude. Speak less and observe more. Write without judgment. Move your body in ways that feel gentle, grounding, slow. Let your rituals be acts of return, not just to balance, but to clarity. Because this part of your journey isn't about confrontation. It's about reclamation. It's about choosing your light fully, unapologetically, even when others wish you'd stay dim to make them more comfortable. You do not need to justify your growth. You do not need to explain why you are protecting your time, your body, your heart. You only need to honor the truth that is already blooming within you. Peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you create, fiercely and tenderly, with every boundary you uphold. And in that peace, Scorpio, you will find not only safety but power. The kind of power that doesn't dominate or defend. The kind that doesn't need to shout to be heard. The kind that knows exactly who it is, and no longer apologizes for having learned how to protect its own light. When we talk about truth, especially as a Scorpio, we're not talking about surface-level clarity. We're speaking of a deeper unveiling, one that slices through illusion, breaks the spell of emotional entanglement, and brings light to the very corners we were too afraid to face. And yet, as intense as that sounds, this kind of truth doesn't arrive to hurt you. It arrives to liberate you. Because you, more than any other sign, understand that the soul is never truly transformed through comfort, it is transformed through courage. And the moment you choose to stop explaining away the discomfort, to stop denying what you already feel in your bones, is the moment the miracle begins. That's what makes this phase of your journey so powerful. You're not waiting for life to get easier. You're becoming braver. You're no longer begging for crumbs of validation from relationships that drain you. You're no longer willing to filter your joy to make others feel safe in their limitations. And that one decision, subtle as it may seem, sends a ripple through the fabric of your reality. Because energy responds to choice. The universe is not random, it is responsive. When you walk away from what's false, what's true begins to find you. This is the moment when your path begins to reorganize. You may notice a conversation that once felt heavy suddenly doesn't need to happen. A contract or offer you were chasing gets replaced by one that feels effortless, aligned, and secure. A person you once held tightly to slips away, but in their place comes someone who brings peace, not performance. These aren't coincidences. These are energetic confirmations. Because when you release what no longer honors you, you create space for what was always meant for you but couldn't reach you until now. In astrology, we see this as a clearing phase when Pluto, your ruling planet, makes room for true power by stripping away anything built on false promises. And the truth is, Scorpio, your reward was never in the chase. It was always in the choice. The choice to stay grounded in your integrity. The choice to believe in your worth even when others couldn't mirror it. The choice to honor the quiet knowing inside you, even when it made you feel alone. Those rewards, financial breakthroughs, deeper relationships, aligned opportunities aren't the result of luck. They are the byproduct of inner clarity. They come not because the universe is favoring you randomly, but because you've aligned your frequency with what you've prayed for, worked toward, and most importantly, embodied. The energy you've carried while no one was watching is finally calling in what's been prepared behind the veil. And still, this is not a destination. It's an unfolding. The magic doesn't arrive in fireworks. It arrives in subtle shifts, a text that brings relief, a conversation that opens a door, a moment of stillness where your body finally exhales and says, "I'm safe here." This is the reward of choosing the truth. Not just knowing it but living it. Embodying it. Becoming someone who no longer negotiates with energies that only love you when you're small. So as you stand in this space of release, remember, your reward is not something you beg for. It's something you rise into. It's something that already belongs to you, waiting patiently behind the locked door of self-denial. And when you use your own key or clarity, your courage, your quiet yes to yourself, that door doesn't just creak open. It swings wide. Not to trap you in a new version of the past, but to usher you into a life shaped by truth, supported by alignment, and filled with the kind of peace that doesn't need to be proven, only lived. When you've finally released what was weighing on your spirit, the connection that didn't serve, the voice that made you doubt, the presence that dimmed your joy, something quiet but sacred begins to happen. Energy reorganizes itself. The field around you clears. And the universe begins to listen more intently, not to your words, but to your vibration. This is where alignment begins, not with force, but with frequency. From November 1st to 3rd, the energy surrounding you will be especially sensitive to intention, color, and space, and even the smallest act of spiritual self-respect will ripple out in meaningful ways. Scorpio, color is more than aesthetic. It's vibration in visible form. It's how energy speaks when words no longer suffice. Wearing or surrounding yourself with certain hues during this window can gently realign your inner world and open channels you didn't know were blocked. Deep violet, for instance, holds the energy of sacred intuition. It's the color of the crown of insight, protection, and spiritual clarity. When you wear or visualize violet, you're not just inviting safety, you're activating your inner knowing. You begin to trust yourself again, to walk into a room without second-guessing your gut, to pause and breathe instead of over-explaining your truth. Emerald green, on the other hand, brings you back to the heart, not just emotionally, but materially. This is the vibration of healing from heartbreaks, restoring balance to relationships, and even attracting abundance with a softened spirit. Green doesn't shout. It reassures. It whispers, you deserve ease now. You deserve comfort without confusion. And golden ochre, warm, earthy, and radiant, is the reminder that grounding doesn't mean stagnation. It means standing tall in your power, claiming your place with quiet confidence, and taking consistent steps toward the life you were born to create. But beyond colors, your energy is shaped by what you release and what you make room for. Sometimes we don't realize how much space a single unresolved thought or toxic tie can take. That's why a simple act like writing down the name of someone whose presence drains you, then safely burning or discarding it while repeating, I return this energy to where it belongs. I keep only my light, can be a deeply symbolic reset. It isn't about harm. It's about healing. It's about giving yourself permission to stop carrying what was never yours to hold. Creating space can also be literal. Clean your desk. Rearrange your bedroom. Fold what's been left undone. These aren't chores, they're energy rituals. As you physically reset your surroundings, you signal to your subconscious that something new is welcome now. That you're ready. That you trust what's coming will be better than what you've outgrown. Even silence can be a ritual. Choosing not to respond to a text that feels heavy. Muting a voice that no longer aligns. Walking away in peace rather than proving a point. That, too, is powerful. That, too, is protection. From November 1st to 3rd, every little step you take in honoring your energy, whether it's a color you wear, a room you reset, a moment you reclaim, acts as a key. A key that unlocks not just outcomes, but embodiment. Because the life you want isn't waiting to be found. It's waiting to be matched by the version of you who no longer feels guilty for choosing clarity over chaos. And that version of you, Scorpio, is emerging right now. In silence. In color. In choice. And in the sacred, quiet space you've just made for something real to finally arrive. Beloved Scorpio, You were never meant to shrink just to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. You were meant to transform. And sometimes, that transformation begins with a revelation that shakes your emotional foundation, but only so it can be rebuilt on something real. The truth that's about to come to light between November 1st and May 3rd feels shocking at first, but it is not here to harm you. It is here to free you. Free you from silent contracts that kept you small. Free you from relationships where your loyalty was weaponized against your own peace. Free you from guilt that was never yours to carry. Your intuition has been whispering, and now the universe is echoing it louder. You are not wrong for noticing, for feeling, for stepping back, for asking more from your life and the people in it. That discomfort you felt? It was divine preparation. Because the moment you choose to protect your light, the moment you stop explaining your worth, the blessings meant for you begin to move swiftly, not because you chased them, but because you finally stood still in your truth long enough for them to find you. So I want to ask you now, Scorpio, are you truly ready to receive what is already on its way to you? Are you ready to live like someone who trusts their own timing, their own voice, their own divine path? If your heart says yes, then speak it into the energy of this moment. Comment below, I am ready for the truth and my new freedom. I protect my energy with sacred clarity. I am ready for a divine new beginning. Because when you speak your truth, even in a whisper, you declare to the universe that you are no longer available for patterns that keep you stuck. You are aligned with your next chapter. You are already becoming the version of yourself who lives free, grounded, abundant, and deeply at peace with what was, what is, and what is to come. And before we close this space together, let me say from the deepest part of my soul, thank you. Thank you for being here. For your presence, your courage, your willingness to evolve. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe to Miracle of the Sign, you're not just supporting this channel. You're anchoring your own transformation. You're planting seeds of awakening in your own life and sending ripples of light to others who are walking the same path. Trust that you've already done the hardest part, you've awakened. Now, Scorpio, it's time to claim what's always been yours. The truth. The freedom. The blessing. And the radiant power of your light finally, fully, and forever.